All right, so welcome back. Of course, it's time to talk about what's going on at the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation.
Yes,
now, President
allegedly.
Buhari appointed Ibe Kachuku as the Minister of State for Petroleum, as well as the Group Managing Director of the corporation. For many, he was a square peg in a square hole.
Yes, indeed. But just a few months into his service, Kachuku was removed as GMD of the NNPC and replaced with Mekanti Baru. He was made chairman of a new board set up for the corporation. Now, details from a leaked memo the petroleum minister wrote to President Buhari hints that the NNPC still has issues of corruption.
Aside allegations of insubordination and misconduct, Kachuku also accused Mekanti Baru of abusive contract process to the tune of $25 billion. That's about 9 trillion naira without consultation with the Ministry of Petroleum or Management Board of the NNPC.
All right, now showing on your screen right now is the breakdown of the fraudulent contracts as given by Kachuku, or alleged fraudulent contracts as given by Ibe Kachuku, the Minister of State for Petroleum, and of course is the chairman of the board of the NNPC. All right, you're welcome back. It's still TVC Breakfast, and well, we'll be looking at this with our guests right here in the studio. He's a publisher, Inside Watch Africa, Oluwaseyi Adeyemo. Good morning, and thanks for joining us on TVC Breakfast. Good to see you again.
Same. Good morning. It's been a while.
Now, there's allegations coming from Ibe Kachuku, this leaked memo, and all the details that Ibe Kachuku has had to put out there for Nigerians to see. Of course, it wasn't, those information were not meant for Nigerians in the first place. They were meant strictly for the president, but the letter leaked.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah.
We're privy to all of this information.
Yeah.
What came to your mind the moment you saw this?
Two things. The first is the fact that information obviously is becoming more public. The era of thinking that some information can be managed within a particular circle is gone. We're having more situations where supposedly information that was meant for a particular group is now going out there into the public space. Now, the second thing is the fact that I would not want us to mismanage this opportunity. For me, Mr. President was applied a lot of wisdom by making sure that Kachuku was first a GMD before he was made minister. And he was in that seat for 11 months.
Yes.
And for me, that was instructive, because that, for me, is the first time we're having a situation where someone is graduating from that very sensitive and pivotal position to a position that was sort of oversee that office. And for me, that is something we need to leverage on so that we would have a better arrangement. And so, like I said, that for me is something we need to manage very well so that we would not have wasted that very good opportunity.
But what opportunity does this offer us? I know you have, what opportunity really
knowledge
do we have from this?
Yes, now, knowledge. You see, the truth is, whether we like it or not, Nigeria economy is still hung on oil. And if we have a situation where we have someone who had played in the private sector, who eventually became the GMD of NNPC, becoming the Minister of Petroleum in Nigeria, for me, that is an opportunity that we need to properly take advantage of. And that is something particularly, it was Kachuku that recommended Baru for this office. In other words, I've seen in someone that was the chairman of their anti-corruption organization as well in NNPC. I've seen him done this job in a way that I feel he will do this job very well. So it's a rare opportunity that I think we need to take advantage of.
Okay, we'll of course come back and discuss this even further when we return from this short break. Stay with us.
We're talking about the revelations in NNPC at the moment, and we'll still have Shea Adeyemo, publisher inside Watch Africa, in the studio here with us to continue to talk about that. Well, Ibe Kachuku, of course, it wasn't the dailies this morning that the president has finally invited Ibe Kachuku, for if you like what we're calling a hearing. How do you think this meeting will go with the president? Because Kachuku had alleged that he was prevented on several occasions to see the president.
Like I said, I also want to say that if we have had an opportunity to have a president with character, I think we have one now. And like I said earlier, it is important that we take advantage of that as well. I'm trusting that Mr. President will take advantage of the fact that he's got goodwill and he has character. He will deal with this situation decisively. He will meet with him and ensure that he's able to douse the tension that is already raging all over the place as regards the way this is being treated so far. I know that the PDP came out this morning to say that we had said that there's corruption in this administration and we're beginning to see the light. So it is important that Mr. President, leverage on his wisdom, experience and character to make sure that at the end of the day, whatever comes out of this meeting would be positive.
All right, comments are already...
Sorry, Ngozi.
Okay.
You talked about the president handling this decisively. Well, there are fears at the moment. With what is happening with the Babachar case. The vice president had done all the findings and made recommendation. The president has been back for quite a while now, and people had expected that decisively, using your word, it will be dealt with. But nothing has happened.
Now, Mr. President, obviously from the way he has handled things so far, it's clear, not even now that he's not president, from the things he's antecedent, that he's someone that takes a lot of time to take decisions. But this is a very critical one. This is concerning a particular product, oil, that is sort of very sensitive in Nigeria.
The soul of Nigeria.
Nigeria, and it borders on restiveness. And so it is a very sensitive issue, and I'm trusting that Mr. President would, in his wisdom, handle this with a lot of wisdom and be decisive on it.
All right, let's look at the core issues and some of the objections that Ibe Kachuku raised in this memo. Number one, unilateral appointment of 55 key officers in the NNPC. As bad as that may seem to everyone, added to that is the fact that it happened without Ibe Kachuku's input or his knowledge. He read about it like every other Nigerian on the pages of the newspapers. And then the C word, the word corruption. Many people are saying, look, it looks like it's business as usual. The NNPC that we always saw as opaque and hugely corrupt remains the same NNPC till date. $25 billion contracts given out to companies that have not paid taxes to Nigerians. And he said that, some of the things that he has actually instituted so far as Minister of State for Petroleum, and of course when he was GMD, some of those are already being eroded under Mekanti Baru. Talk about all of this.
The way it is stated so far, it is thus bad. But I would also want to hear on the side of caution that Barrow is a distinction graduate, is a doctor, is a career person in NNPC. Ibek Kachuku must have seen something because, like I said, he was the chairman of their anti-graft, internal anti-graft in NNPC for him to have recommended him for that office. I don't want us to trash that. I want us to believe that if they dig into this further, we would be able to solve this decisively. And that for me is what I want us to hang on as much as possible. Because yes, as it is scary.
Well, it is difficult. It's going to be difficult, really, without bringing all the surrounding, issues, around it. Well, there are reports or more facts emerged this morning that the Cold War was generated essentially because of the restructuring that Kachuku did in 2016.
Yeah.
Do you see that as well?
There's no way you can, completely say, oh, this is not there, that is not there. But I would also want to reiterate the fact that this is someone who has held GM of most of the internal units of NNPC. So he understands the running of this place. And I want to insist that Kachuku, having worked there for 11 months, must have seen the possibility of working with him. That was why he recommended him in the first place. Now, there's a problem. And I don't want to say that is the Nigerian way whenever we come into place of office.
All right, you know what? Let's put you on hold. Okay, Foladele is ready to give us an idea of what Nigerians are thinking and saying about this particular issue. Foladele, good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Oluwaseyi.
Good morning.
Okay, so Oluwaseyi made some very interesting points about the president still having goodwill and character. And, well, let's find out if people agree. Ebubedi's statement says, my attention has been drawn to the fact that a $26 billion scandal is rocking NNPC under Baba Buhari as Kachuku seeks a transfer move to Whalers FC. Adeyanju Deji says, so $26 billion, and then he puts in bracket again, dollars, has suddenly gone missing in NNPC under Buhari's watch. Now, wow, this corruption fight. Melvin Satire says there's little or no difference between Evans, the billionaire kidnapper, and the billionaire thieves in NNPC. Gege says Buhari knows why Barrow was sent to the NNPC. All the talk about Buhari not knowing is hogwash. He's a professional hypocrite. And Bashar Uga says $26 billion scandal rocking the NNPC at a time the indefatigable Buhari is president and minister for petroleum. These are great times. There's some sarcasm there. Okay.
Not of it.
You spoke earlier about how, we've seen the president in the past taking his time before he, makes a decision.
Yeah.
Now, some people find that the president is a bit impartial in that sometimes he takes his time to make a decision, while other times he's quick to speak. Do you agree that he is impartial?
Right now, there's strong apathy in the nation. Nigerians are very, very impatient. They're angry, and that is the truth. And that's why I am trusting. And if you listen to me carefully, I say I'm trusting that Mr. President will be sensitive to all of that and leverage on the fact that he's got character and a lot of goodwill.
Does he still have that?
You see, the goodwill is not something that you can wish away. In
just like that.
Yeah, the truth is, it took a lot of negotiations, a lot of coming together to have gotten him there in the first place, and that was as a result of goodwill. What we are saying is that could go if he's unable to manage now. Now is very critical. Now is very critical for Nigerians' history if he would take the right decision now, because the truth is, look, we have two brilliant people operating, and it is my belief that they should be able to understand themselves and share, notes.
Is that likely to be what the problem is? Is it a clash of egos or a battle for the soul of Nigeria? Is this what it's really all about?
The truth is, Kachuku showed very clearly that he's a passionate Nigerian, and that we must also take cognizance of. So, because he did, it is my belief that is concerned about Nigeria, because what he did in 11 months is something that is unprecedented in the turning around of the fortune of NNPC. That also cannot be wished away. But I'm also saying, because he is Kachukwu and he pointed out Barrow, then there must be something in there.
About him.
And those are things we need to look out for, and we'll be trusting that Mr. President will definitely help all of us to make sense out of this.
Because now it's very critical.
Yes, it is critical. If we miss this opportunity, and look, who else? If we cannot do well with our distinction students, then it means that we're sort of in woes as a people, because this is something that I believe we should take advantage of. Then you will now go to structure. If it's this way, then it must be
and
that
it's
way.
a litmus test. People are already asking. Of course, Kachukwu himself has said, look, among other things, he prayed to the president to intervene on, suspend this appointments that Barrow has made, among so many other things. But unfortunately, we'll really have to leave it there, Sheyi Adeyemo. I wish we had time to talk more on this, but of course you can be sure that the debate will continue. Sheyi Adeyemo is publisher, Inside Watch Africa. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Foladele, thank you too.
Thank you.